There are 4 things that I encourage you to think about when getting started. The first is what you want your ad to say. The second is how you want your ad to look. The third is the action that you want your users to take when seeing the ad. And the fourth is where you want your ad to be placed, whether that's mobile, desktop, a display network, or a variety of other things that these social networks offer. When determining these 4 factors, it's important to get very specific with each goal that you're trying to accomplish. So when I talk about what do you want your ad to say, I really mean what emotion do you want your audience to feel? What do you want them to think when reading your copy? When I talk about how you want your ad to look, I mean, should you create a video for this specific ad? Should you create an image? What color should you use? Is it on brand? And then when I talk about the specific action that you want your users to take, we're talking about, do you have a landing page set up, a blog post set up, or do you simply have something off of the Facebook or Instagram or Twitter platform that you want to send the people to? And then last but not least, when I talk about where you want your ad to appear, that means incorporating the things we talked about earlier and creating a mobile-friendly ad if you're going to advertise on mobile. Also considering desktop implications. Are people on a big screen, a small screen? Will they be able to read your text? If not, how can you improve those ads to make sure that you get the lowest cost and the highest click-through rate? Kicking off this video, all about ad content, copy, and visuals, it's important to have an understanding of what's possible on each social media network in order to achieve the best audience out there. The best part is that you can use any copy and visuals you want at any portion of the funnel, as long as you're framing it correctly in what your audience expects from you during that time. So what do I mean by that? So at the top of the funnel, you're going to have very brand awareness focused content. That can be in the form of a link, of a picture, of a video, really anything you want. But the way you frame that and the way you present that content and that copy is the most important part to think about. So at the top of the funnel, you might have things like funny videos, awesome graphics, links that lead to your website that don't ask for a sale, maybe curated content to other social media websites or other brands. One of the best things to remember when you're creating top of the funnel content is that you're sharing a moment with your audience that they then share with their friends and family. So there's literally no ask involved at the top of the funnel. There's no links, there's no sales, it's purely entertainment, usefulness, or education. I'm not sure how many of you have heard of the brand Honey. I haven't, but I can tell you that this ad is performing particularly well. It has over 1,000 likes, 141 comments, and 508 shares. If you take a look, it's very top of the funnel focused because Honey is not trying to sell anything at all. It's literally just an article about an Amazon hack, how to get cheaper prices on everything. And then if you take a look at the copy, it's short, it's sweet, and it's very enticing. You almost can't not click on this ad. And so this serves as a great example of a way to drive traffic to your site while also staying in the very top funnel brand awareness piece. Now let's take a look at a top of the funnel ad we ran here at Buffer. Just to give you some context, we only spent about $20 boosting this post. And linking this back to what we talked about before, we posted this organically first, identified it as a top performing post, and then simply put some money behind it by boosting it. So if you take a look at the ad, there's no links to our website. All you see is the Buffer logo in the top left corner. Now, something to note about this particular ad, and it's just good social media content writing, is that the image or the visual says something, and then the caption accompanies that image to help entice people to want to read the image, if that makes sense. So you're hooking people in with the visual, their eyes go back up to the caption, they read the caption, they become more interested, it goes back down to the visual, and all of a sudden you have a great piece of top of the funnel content. Our third TOFU example, top of the funnel example, is from a great company called Client Boost. And a lot of these examples you're seeing here are from an article they wrote on top 32 inspirational posts for your social media ads. And we'll go ahead and link to this article in the class resources. You'll see that Client Boost does a lot of things right here. First of all, it's very top of the funnel topic focused, the marketer's holiday calendar, 25 gifographics to up your skills. And why this is such a great piece of content is that this really relates to anybody who might be interested in Client Boost. So going back to those first classes, you're casting a wide net. People who read this article might not be interested in Client Boost, but they might be interested in reading about gifographics for the holidays. That's what makes it top of the funnel. The other great thing they do here is their visual is really strong. They use emoji in the captions. They have a really strong call to action in the headline to up your skills. Up your skills is always a great way to call people to action. And then they have a nice visual saying the holiday marketing calendar for marketers. So all these elements together in one ad makes a really great top of the funnel piece of content. When we're talking about middle of the funnel, that's when you start to get a bit more, as I would say, salesy, but it's still not asking for a sale. So now let's get into a few middle of the funnel or MOFU content examples. The first one is from HubSpot. Many of you might have heard of HubSpot as a company, but they also have a really great advertising program. As you can see in this HubSpot ad, it's middle of the funnel because it drives traffic to their website, but doesn't ask for a purchase. Much of HubSpot's audience are entrepreneurs and founders, and so this specifically is a narrowed down audience calling directly out to them to click on this link. Another great middle of the funnel piece of content is from a company called Ahrefs. And if you take a look at this ad here, Ahrefs is specifically providing a link on how to rank in Google. And the reason that this is a perfect example of a middle of the funnel piece of content is that their entire business is based around helping people get ranked on Google. So they're not saying, hey, buy Ahrefs product, but what they are doing is helping people get better at ranking in Google. So the hope is people click on this ad, they get to know Ahrefs a little bit better, and eventually try their service. And this last video here in middle of the funnel content is from a company called Drip. This one was an awesome example of a video piece of ad content done really well in the middle of the funnel. One great way to make your ads effective is by starting out with a really powerful question. See this yet? Says Drip. We're giving away a 20 video email mastery course for free when you sign up for a free Drip account. You'll see that the copy is really well done and it mixes great with the actual video itself, along with the, you'll see, offer at the bottom for an email course. Now, you'll see it's an offer, and so you might ask, well, isn't this bottom of the funnel because they're offering something? Well, what they're offering isn't to buy their product. What they're offering is a free email course. So you can have offers in the middle of the funnel as long as they're not trying to drive the sale. They're providing people value here with a free 20 video email course on email mastery. And if you look at the results, you can see how effective it was. 631 likes, 57 comments, 142 shares, and most of all, 166,000 views. And I know it's kind of hard to differentiate between those two, but really you should be thinking about middle of the funnel content is adding more value to people who are now aware of your brand. Bottom of the funnel content are the traditional ads you're used to seeing on social media. This is the ask. It's when people are asking you to buy their product, try their service, or anything else that asks you to do something that you wouldn't normally do on social media. So I'm hoping by now ideas are generating in your head, and let's get into a few BOFU or bottom of the funnel content ideas so that when you leave this course today, you can get started with advertising no matter what part of the funnel. All right, one of my favorites, Blue Apron. They do a great job of social media advertising. In fact, they're known for how much they spend on advertisements. So if you take a look at this ad from Blue Apron, they combine a great visual with a tempting offer. So that's what I want you to think about when creating bottom of the funnel content. Draw people in with the visual and then hit them with an offer they can't refuse. Another one of my favorite companies in terms of BOFU inspiration over the last couple of years is Dollar Shave Club. Many of you might have seen the Dollar Shave Club commercial, which was a viral hit on YouTube across the world. But Dollar Shave Club does a really great job with their offers in the bottom of the funnel. What's great about this ad is it doesn't necessarily say, hey, purchase Dollar Shave Club. What it does do is speak to people's emotions, the smarter way to shave. So that gets people to say, well, am I shaving dumb? Am I not shaving in the smart way? Successful bottom of the funnel content is creative. It's witty, it's funny, it's just pure good content. The more creative you can get with your bottom of the funnel content, the more success and conversions you're actually going to produce. And last but not least, one more ad from Buffer, just because I know them so well. In this ad, you're going to see a statistic called out in the copy, a captivating visual, and a free trial. So when talking about bottom of the funnel content, free trials always work really, really well. And when you couple that with interesting data or a piece of research in the caption, it's very hard for people not to want to read more. And then when you combine that with an interesting visual, it's very hard for people not to want to click. Let's get into a few best practices for creating great ads. You have 3 opportunities to convert people with your advertisements: the copy, the visual, and the headline. When it comes to copy, keep it short and sweet. Make it witty, ask questions, talk about stats, talk about research. Question people's motivations, question how they currently do things. But it's important to realize that you should experiment with captions as well. I've also seen companies write paragraphs about their ads, and those work too. I just know that from best practices, shorter is usually better, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't experiment. When it comes to still graphics or photos, they should be visually eye-catching and not text-heavy. You can have text in your ad that helps to add to the graphic itself, but the picture or image should really state what you're trying to say without too much text being needed. When it comes to video graphics or videos, it's important to remember that short videos usually work best to capture people's attention. You have to remember that people are scrolling through social media feeds, not necessarily looking to consume a 5 to 10 minute video. So what I've seen in terms of best practices in length is to keep your video between 60 and 90 seconds or 90 to 120 seconds max. That will help to maximize the amount of people who watch your video and then also maximize the people who watch your video to the end. And last but not least, the headline. The importance of the headline cannot be overstated here. I suggest creating 10 to 20 different headline variations and running them by a few people to see which one works best before you actually experiment with it. The other way to do it is actually run headlines as ad tests. You can split up ads, run the headlines, see which ones perform best, and that way you can get a feel pretty quickly for which headline is performing best with a sample audience size. What I suggest you do is start with the graphic. Pick 3 to 4 graphics that you think will work with an ad. Run that graphic with the same caption and the same headline across the board. Once you find the graphic that's working the best, hold on to that graphic. Then run an ad with various captions with that same graphic and the same headline that you used before. Once you have the graphic with the caption, then it's time to test the headlines. Run a few different variations again, find which headline is working best, and all of a sudden you have a perfect caption with graphic with headline combination. That's how you go from the unknown into what you know will work. The thing that makes advertising successful yet tricky is that you have to do that across multiple audience sets, multiple ad sets in order to find the right combination of ads mixed with audiences to see the biggest results. But don't get discouraged, it takes time and you will find success over time. Another thing to remember is that you're going to have to test ads on different social media platforms. So if you're advertising outside of Facebook, you're going to have to do the same process for LinkedIn, for Twitter, for Instagram. In other words, each social platform has a different language. So what works on Facebook as an advertisement might not work on Twitter or on LinkedIn, and that's okay. You'll have to do simple tests like the ones we just laid out, but it'll get easier as you go and you'll start to become a pro in no time at all. All right, we've come to a point in the class where it's time to start creating your first ad. What I suggest you do here is experiment by first boosting a piece of content that is performing particularly well on social media. That might be a promoted tweet, a Facebook post, whatever you want it to be. Put a small amount of money behind a top performing piece of content and see how that performs. That's going to give you a baseline for further promoted posts in the future. The next thing I want you to do is create an actual ad, not a promoted post or a promoted tweet, an actual real life ad. So there are multiple ways you can go about this, but first you're going to need a custom audience, and then you're going to need what we talked about in this lesson, and that's a caption you want to use, a few graphics, and a headline. Start with something that you know will work, create an ad, target it towards a custom audience that you've created, make sure it aligns with one of the goals that you started in the beginning, and then run the ad. You can start with $5, you can start with $10, you can even put $100 down. But what that's going to do is give you a baseline for what you can expect in the future with ads. And if you're brave enough, try an ad in the middle of the funnel or bottom of the funnel and see how that performs.